Hey, I'm NichBoy and welcome to Pocket, and today I'm playing the SMITE Beta on Xbox One. Ancient cultures collide, and it's not pretty. Graphically, it's fine, it's just a bloodbath. SMITE is a MOBA that has been out on PC for a while, but it is now on the Xbox One as part of an open beta, and they're saying it's the MOBA for the console. Now, I love MOBAs, and I have an Xbox One. I don't know how those two things go together, so let's find out. Okay, well, this is the main menu for SMITE, but obviously the most important part about any MOBA is what you're gonna look like. Now, SMITE's point of difference with its characters is instead of doing all the hard work themselves of creating a bunch of characters, they've basically just read a bunch of books and stolen all the gods that we know about. So all the characters that you can play are gods from different religions. So we can see like Aphrodite, Apollo, R-Punch, Chuck. We all know, we remember Chuck. All hail Chuck! Alright, so we've got hunters, mage, warriors, guardians. So yeah, there are a heap of characters to pick from. And something that I do like about it is there's lots of skins available for all these characters that you can make all of them look quite different. And I appreciate that because when you're stuck with a limited pool, you know, you want them to all have a point of difference. So Ratatoska? Sure. He's like a chipmunk god? Is that a thing? Who's worshipping this guy? This was a terrible one to pick because he only has one skin. There's chipmunk skin, and then there's sort of like silver. Oh, but he's so cute! Even though he has dead, cold eyes. Let's find someone else. Xbox, go away. Stop listening, Xbox. Xbox, stop listening. Stop listening! Let's get into the game because I'm really curious to see how this works. Conquest is your classic MOBA 5v5 teams. You're trying to take the other person's base. There are things within the map that give objectives that you can hold that give you upgrades and abilities and that sort of thing. So let's try that. Now, I've played a couple of games on the PC. But no actual real games, just sort of co-op games. So you will forgive me if I don't know what I'm doing. And I might use, who will I use? I'll use the one that they gave me in the tutorial. Ah yeah, there she is. Okay, I know how to play you, Neith. So I'm a big fan of Dota. Let's go into this. I'm predisposed to hate this game. So we're gonna start right now with the assumption that I hate everything that this game is doing. And then we'll see how we end up in sort of anywhere between 15 and 75 minutes. Interesting, you can play as the same character on both teams. So there's another Neith. I don't like that, the hatred grows. Obviously the huge difference with SMITE is that this is third person. It's not a sort of top-down view that we're in the battlefield and it is all from this perspective, so you are always locked in on your character. I think this is cool. The hatred lessens a little bit. This is the shop. So I need to buy things before I go out and kill things. I don't really know what to buy, but thankfully there's a recommended tab. Boots, you always want boots because you can never move fast enough. Okay, time to run. I'm heading to the bottom lane because this is just where I started running. Oh, that Neith was nearly dead. Ah, I could get you, Sobek. You're mine! Victory. Okay, so like other MOBAs, there are creeps here. We can see my minions. I think they're called minions in this game. My minions and the other team's minions. And so killing these gives you experience and gold to level up. There's no last hitting in this game. Well, I guess there is. It just gives you a bit more of a bonus, but you get gold regardless of whether or not you got the last hit on that minion. The first thing I notice is because I am in this perspective, I do not know what anyone else is doing. I can see them there on the mini-map, but it means that I have very little awareness of what's going on anywhere else in the game, as opposed to any of the other MOBAs where you can sort of freely move the camera around. So I wonder how much the game expects me to go and wander off out of my lane. Because a lot of those other games, you know, you end up teaming up and wandering around as a group, or like a smaller group splitting up after the laning phase. But I don't know how much I would do that here because I don't really know what's going on. So I just leveled up there, and the way that it's set up at the moment, and you can turn it off, but I think it's really good, is that it auto levels the spells for you. And it also, you can set it up to auto buy items for you, which I think is a really, really good idea to help new people to these sorts of games, because one of the biggest impediments to getting people into MOBAs is they look at something like the item shop and they just get completely overwhelmed. And so by removing the idea that you need to think about what you need to get and you can just focus on playing this part, I think is really good. You can turn it off, but it's nice that it sort of defaults to that. In terms of the combat, one of the other big differences between this and all other MOBAs out at the moment is that all the combat is skill shot based, so it means you actually need to aim your abilities and you can potentially miss. Most other games only have a few abilities like that for some characters, but most abilities are, you know, you click on a character and the attack gets them no matter what. Whereas here, you can dodge out of the way of an attack and everything is aimed, so it's much more like an action game. That adds a really interesting element of being able to survive by sort of, you know, jumping around and that sort of thing. And also, it doesn't guarantee that you get a kill when you normally would have in another game because you just didn't aim correctly or something. The movement as well is much more like a sort of action game. It's a little clunky on the controller because I'm sort of controlling the camera with just a thumbstick, but it feels pretty good. It feels quite natural and smooth. It doesn't look the best, but it's doing what I want it to do. Okay, I want to take down this tower. This laning phase seems to be, and I am just playing against a computer and I barely know what I'm doing, but it seems to just be sort of hammering these minions over and over and over again until I take down a tower like that. So it seems to have a little less tactics than the other ones at the moment. But let's go find out what's happening everywhere else, because I just have no idea what's going on in the rest of the field. Ah! Does my ultimate reach that far? Yes, but it doesn't really do anything, Nick. It doesn't do anything! There are wards in this game which give vision, so you drop something down, that means you can see where other enemy players are. The weird thing about the minimap, though, to me, is that it doesn't show a fog of war, so I can't see most of the other players at the moment because they're not within a field of vision of another player. But I can see everything else on their side of the map, so it's a little confusing of just going, oh, are you just not somewhere where I'm looking, or are you exactly where I'm looking and I just can't see you because your icon isn't on there? Oh, look at you. Are you like Roche? Are you the big... I'm not gonna do anything to you, am I? I'm gonna run! Run away! It is interesting that you can see the enemies through the walls. I guess it's trying to mitigate the fact that, that you can't actually swing around the map and see what's going on. Okay, I need to get back to base. So I'm going to teleport. So there seems to be unlimited teleporting in the game, but then you can't buy like a teleport scroll or something to get somewhere else on the map. You have to then run back. So I'm back here. I have a bunch of gold. I should buy some things. Upgrade my boots. So there's an upgrade tree for all these items there. It looks like the same as League and Dota, where you buy items and combine them to make better items. It actually seems to be like upgrading them as opposed to necessarily combining them. So I guess in that case, it would be better to just focus on one item and upgrade it to where you want it to be, rather than buy multiple parts at the same time, like in those other games, and then ultimately combine them. Okay, I'm just gonna focus and win the game now. Muff, who is busy farming, he'll just speed all this up, and it'll just look like he'll just show all my awesome moves. John, just show my awesome moves, okay? Like that one where I backflipped. I did a backflip. Can't do that in your farming game, can you? Huh? That's great. You nerd. Where is everybody? What direction am I facing? Oh no, I completely wasted that. Oh! I'm wearing a hula hoop of weird glowing Gold runes. The hatred lessens. Hello. Oh no. Run away! It's so weird killing Thor and Hercules just being with a bow and arrow. Here we go. Victory! Okay, so that is Smite on the Xbox One. Now I know we started with me at full hatred. I'm kind of at like, quite like. It works really well, and I'm surprised. Obviously, the action was kind of built for this sort of platform. The third-person action stuff, the movement and everything just seems so much more at home here than something like Dota would. It controls much better than I thought with the controller. The strafing and stuff works really well. The camera doesn't have as much movement around as if you would with a mouse, but I think that's fine. The attacks and everything work totally well. Everything, you know what this controller does as well. It's not something where you pick up Dota or League and suddenly it's like, there are all these buttons and I don't know what they do. You know that right trigger here is attack, and you know that these are, you know, moves, and so it feels more at home. The only thing I don't like about the interface when it comes to the controller is, as someone who is learning, I want to know and be reminded about what my abilities do and what my items do and that sort of thing, and you kind of can't easily just mouse over something while you're running somewhere to check, oh, what does that do? There is a button you can press that pops up a menu, but you know, it's something that's coming up, it's obstructing your field of view, you're sort of in a sub-menu at the time. Hovering over makes that much easier, but that's really my only complaint about the implementation of the game on the console. But the strongest selling point for Smite is that the fun is kind of just immediately apparent. A lot of the stuff that's going on is stuff that you have done in other games. So here, this is the MOBA out of all of them that you could jump in and immediately feel as though you are contributing. And I think that's the most important thing when you're trying to put a game like this on a console for the masses, that it needs to be something that you go, oh, I'll check that out, and then you jump in and within 5 minutes you're firing a bow and arrow and you go, yeah, I know exactly what this is. And then from there you can learn the depth that the game obviously has. And so that is Smite, which surprisingly might sit alongside Dota as a MOBA that I will keep playing. So thanks for watching today's episode of Pocket. NichBoy out. I'm gonna play another game, hopefully with someone with a little more clothes on. Hiya!